Showtime, folks. Guess who's back? Spidey Presents. Yes, I'm back. This is my fourth attempt at this goddamn video, man. Goddamn thing just keeps fluctuating and freezing up. Hopefully this one will work. Oh my god. So we're going to talk about one of my favorite movies from 1987. Iron Weed with Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep and Fred Gwynne, Tom Waits, Carol Baker, a lot of really wonderful actors, supporting actors, and basically the whole schmear of actors in this particular movie. Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful movie, folks. I love this movie a lot. Anyway, it came out in 1987. Let's show the cover of this thing. Ironweed, man. Jack Nicholson. I think this is one of his best movies ever. You know, he's done a lot of great movies along with the other actors and actresses in this movie. But I think this is one of his best movies. I've watched this thing probably about a dozen times in the last maybe 3-4 years. I bought it off eBay maybe about 4 years ago or something like that, and I've watched it a dozen times. It's a hard-hitting Depression-era movie. My God, it's just wonderful, man. Okay, here's the edge. Now, I know you'll all want to see that. I know the edge turns you guys on, so I'm going to give you... There you go. See? Pretty good. All right. Woohoo! Anyway, has Meryl Streep, like I said, Fred Gwynne, Tom Waits, oh, Carol Baker, oh, Jack, of course. It's pretty much just a really tragic Depression-era movie. It's got really no humor in it at all. It's pretty down to earth, kind of a dark, not dark comedy, but a dark drama. And it's pretty much all these people are fighting for their lives, you know, during 1938. I think it was filmed in Albany, New York, or something in 1987. Jack Nicholson just does a wonderful job here. It has Nathan Lane in this movie too. He actually keeps coming back and haunting Jack during the movie. It's hilarious. It's not supposed to be funny, but it is funny. That's about the only bit of humor in the movie that I got a kick out of. Anyway, so like I said, Jack Nicholson is pretty much an alcoholic. Meryl Streep, Tom Waits, they're all just going from town to town, particularly staying in that particular town, of course. You know, because that's pretty much where their bread and butter is, so to speak. There we go. Good movie. It has a nice cover, of course. Here's the back side, just regular stats, you know, statistics and stills and all kinds of stuff. And then I already showed you the edge because I know that turns you on. Anyway, so basically about 22 years prior to the beginning of this movie, Jack Nicholson had a baby with Carol Baker, his current wife, and unfortunately the baby fell out of Jack Nicholson's arms and it hit the kitchen floor or something and it died. And he has just been in complete tragedy. I mean he's grief-stricken. I mean, he is so, he had to leave Carol Baker because basically he was just so upset about what happened. It was nothing but a pure accident. And so basically he just kind of goes on the road, stays away from Carol Baker in the house. They have actually a pretty nice house in that particular town. And so he's just kind of hanging out with other people who are homeless, you know, with Meryl Streep and Tom Waits and, you know, and other character actors and stuff in this movie. You'll recognize a lot of people in this particular movie. It is so well done. It's a really nice Depression era type of a movie, 1938 or something in that particular time in our history. I'm not sure when the Great Depression began and when it actually ended, but it's just a wonderful movie, folks. Wonderful movie. Oh my God, I love watching this movie a lot. It really hits home, man. It hits home. I mean, you feel so bad for Jack Nicholson and stuff like that, and the rest of the cast. I mean, they're really messed up, man. Unfortunately, it has a really tragic ending for Tom Waits and Meryl Streep. But anyway, so Jack Nicholson during the movie had to kill a couple people actually because they were trying to kill him as the 22 years have gone by because he's been in boxcars and people have been trying to chop his legs off his foot off. This guy wanted his goddamn shoes, and he almost chopped his goddamn foot off trying to get the shoes from Jack Nicholson. Jack has to kill him, of course. And then he has to kill Nathan Lane, of course. I know there's some killings in this movie, but they're all tastefully done. Don't worry about it. They're not gory, nothing like that. Okay, there we go. Ah, good movie, man. Good movie. Oh, Spidey's on a roll tonight. I'm not fumbling my words too much. There ain't going to be no shout-outs because nobody cares. I'm just... I got Vincent Price or something in the background, one of those radio programs. So if you hear that, just ignore it because I'm just trying to have some background ambience. Oh, my God. Anyway, here we go. It's actually just a shot of Jack Nicholson with his hat. You know, you can see one of those 1930s, 40s type hat, you know, where they wore a lot of them back in the day, you know, stuff like that. Oh, this could be one of my best reviews. I mean, seriously, I'm on a roll, don't you think? Like I said, the studio looks wonderful. I'm not going to give no shout-outs because nobody cares. Spidey's got to clear his throat. I've been kind of like under the weather for a couple days because of all the weather changes here in uptown Shitville, so it's kind of affected my mojo a little bit. So anyway, there's a lot of cool scenes in this movie. I mean, they're all out there trying to get daily jobs and, you know, money for their families and trying to find a place to stay. Most of them just end up sleeping on the street in alleys and next to buildings with cardboard covering them up, stuff like that. It's very sad, extremely sad. It's kind of too bad that some people end up like that. But anyway, it doesn't have a very happy ending, you know, and it's got a lot of really cool stuff. Fred Gwynne is really cool. He plays his bartender. He owns this bar with Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep and Tom Waits kind of like go there once in a while and buy a beer or something, you know. They ain't got much money, of course, you know. They're barely scraping it. I mean, I don't know how much they made per hour back in that particular time, but it wasn't much, folks. I mean, it wasn't much. Meryl Streep is basically kind of like Jack Nicholson's kind of on-screen girlfriend in this movie. Tom Waits is one of his buddies in the town, you know. This is kind of a sad review but it's such a great movie, man. It's so well, so well filmed, folks. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie to watch. I mean, but like I said, you're not gonna find many happy scenes in this movie. It's just a tough movie to watch at times but it's so well done. It is so well done. I mean, they're all serious. They're all just trying to fight for their lives, like I mentioned previously. So, I mean, unfortunately, Jack Nicholson is such an alcoholic in this movie. He's hallucinating constantly. All the people that he basically had to kill during the movie to get to his current age in this movie, they keep coming back as ghosts. He's, you know, it's actually funny. He looks out the window or something, or he looks at this side of a building, and there's like 5 or 10 or 15 people. They're all just taunting the shit out of Jack, man. They're not really there. He just thinks they're there. He's hallucinating, or are they there? They could be. They actually could be there. It's very sad, man. I mean, I don't know if the alcohol poisoning or what, or maybe he's going to end up dying eventually from alcoholism or something. But he just cannot get away from these people who keep haunting him. I mean, they're literally just taunting the crap out of Jack, you know, and he's firing back at them. And I had to kill you. I had to kill you. You guys were trying to kill me. I had to kill you first. You know, it's really sad, man. This happens maybe at least 3, 4 times, 5 times in the movie where he just starts, oh my God, now what do you want? You know, and you feel sorry for Jack, man. He's just got a tragic past, man. And a current situation with these people, man. Oh, enough of that, man. It's actually kind of humorous, man. He's just smarting off back to these ghosts, man. They're all dressed in white, too. Like white suits, white hats, and everything. It sounds really weird, man. Oh, Nathan Lane is really outstanding as one of the people that he actually killed. Nathan Lane was like a conductor on this train that was trying to bring scabs in to take the town's jobs away from them because they were on strike. Oh my God, he kills Nathan Lane accidentally with a rock to the head, man. Oh, it's very sad, man. Nathan Lane is walking around with a rock stuck to his head or something, man. He's a ghost, of course. Then you got Meryl Streep, of course. She plays like Jack Nicholson's on-screen girlfriend in this movie. She's really messed up. She's going to end up passing away at the end. She has kidney disease or liver disease or something. Then you got Tom Waits, who's actually really good in this movie. I like Tom Waits because he's a great actor and a great musician. I've always been a big fan of Tom Waits, man. Good actor, man. I really like this guy a lot. He's been in a ton of movies, and of course, he's a well-known musician and stuff like that. So soundtracks and his own albums and CDs and stuff like that. But anyway, so it's pretty much just a dismal type of Depression era movie, but really well done. I mean, there's just a teeny bit of humor in there, just enough to offset the tragic lives of these people. I mean, towards the end, when Meryl Streep is basically, she ends up dying in this hotel room or rooming house. I'm not sure what it is, kidney disease or liver is failing miserably, and she just dies. And and Tom Waits gets killed at this homeless camp where there are hundreds and hundreds of families are basically just living in tents and stuff like that next to the railroad tracks or something. And the townsfolk don't want that happening in their particular town. And hundreds of them come and beat the shit out of all the homeless guys and women, men, and stuff like that. With the clubs and everything. And unfortunately, Tom Waits gets hit in the head with a major, I don't know, a club or something. And oh man, it's really sad. Jack Nicholson has to take him to the hospital, and he dies about 15 minutes later at the hospital. You gotta get help for him. He's gonna die. And nurse goes over and takes a look at Tom Waits sitting on the bench. He's already dead, man. Blood is dripping from his ears, and brain hemorrhage or something, or I don't know. His skull got fractured or something with the. It's just sad, man. Really terrible way for Tom Waits to die there in the hospital. Oh, this is kind of sad. And then I don't know. There's a lot of there's so many different scenes in this particular movie. It's really hard to tell you each and every one of them. If I'm making any sense, you got to watch the movie, folks. It's really a good movie. Everybody should watch this movie. It's really well done. Well done. Okay, there we go. Well, we're up to about 13 minutes. That ain't bad. We're going to be rating this movie, of course, at the end. It's going to get a really outstanding rating from me because I just think it's just so beautifully done, this movie. I mean, Jack Nicholson is one of my favorite actors. Along with the other actors, they're all superb. I'm not putting one over the other, but Jack Nicholson, I think, is always, he's the Joker, of course. He's, all those movies. I can't even think. He's done so many movies. He's probably about 90 years old now, or 85, 90 years old. I hope he makes some more movies before it's time for him to go. Stuff like the Meryl Streep, of course, has done a massive amount of movies. They all won Academy Awards for their work, Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson, stuff like that, They're really good actors. I mean, like I said, everybody in this movie is so goddamn good. They just pull off the roles perfectly. There's a scene where Jack Nicholson has to go visit his baby at the graveyard, and of course he's up on the hill looking at the tombstone, and you can tell he starts to sob and he starts to regret what happened, stuff like that. It's really a sad scene, man. And then to come up 15 minutes later, he has to go back to the work wagon and start working in town with this one prick asshole who's trying to hire him for pennies. So it's a really sad scene at the graveyard, at the cemetery, you want to call it. So, you feel bad for Jack Nicholson, man. His whole life is just all messed up since the tragedy 22 years earlier with the baby and his wife, Carolyn Jones. Carolyn Jones. I mean, Carol Baker. What am I? I was thinking about the Addams Family or something there. What the hell, man? But there is a really cool scene. He decides to go back, Jack Nicholson, visit Carol Baker and their daughter and stuff like that. And of course, she wants him to stay permanently, and he doesn't want to stay permanently because the memories are just so horrible. What happened 22 years earlier in the house, with the baby and stuff like that. So, it's kind of sad for Jack, man. He's all cleaned up, shaven and everything, and because like I said, Carol Baker wants him to stay permanently, but he just can't do it because this has been haunting him for 22 years. He finally decides to go maybe a couple of days later, stuff like that, and back on the road again with his friends. It's kind of sad, man. Oh, we're up to 15 minutes. Oh, have I been battling so much? I've been battling so much. I'm battling, man. I am just battling. Oh my God. I keep showing this cover because I like this cover. The cover is kind of tragic looking anyway. You can tell that it's not going to be a happy movie, and it isn't, except for a few of the really brief bits of humor with the ghosts and everything like that. Oh my God. But anyway, I like the look of this movie. I love the look of this movie. I like the look of that movie because it was kind of like, I like the architecture, I like the cars, I like the way people were trying to go from their daily routine, stuff like that, and it was really cool movie, man. Cool era, I think. Not the Depression era, but the way the era looked. So I'm a big fan of the old stuff, from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I like the way the country looked, with the cars and everything, and the building architecture and stuff like that. So, because I'm old, I'm just kind of nostalgic, so to speak. So, anyway, we're up to about 16 minutes. Oh, actually, 17 minutes. Oh, we're almost done with this review, folks. Anyway, we're going to talk about this movie. There's so many different scenes I could talk about, but I kind of just try to give you little bits and clips of what the movie is about and what it looks like and the characters and the players in the movie and stuff like that. Anyway, we're going to rate this movie because I've been babbling on too long. Anyway, we're going to give this whole movie because I like the era. We're going to give it 10 spiderwebs. I know a lot of people have no idea what Ironweed is. They never saw this movie, but I would highly recommend this movie. One of Jack Nicholson's best movies, I believe. An underrated gem, folks. And unfortunately, he should have won an Academy Award for this. I think they were nominated for Academy Awards, him and Meryl Streep, but some of the other actors. But I would really recommend checking this movie out. It's a great movie, man. It won't make you cry, but it will make you think, stand up and take notice, stuff like that. So basically, this is a perfect. I know a lot of my movies are 10 spiderwebs, but this really deserves it. Just like the last one, what was the last one? I can't remember. I am so spaced out. Anyway, we're going to be talking about High Noon and Gary Cooper pretty soon. Another classic from the 50s, Western, of course. So, 10 spiderwebs for Ironweed with Jack Nicholson and the outstanding cast. Until then, you take care of yourselves, and we will see you at the movies. Yeah!